Welcome to Joyful Money, the sales and business growth podcast for female coaches, consultants, and service providers who are ready to confidently lead their business, master their sales process, and create consistent 10K months. I am your host, Joy Rowland, certified business growth strategist, money mindset mentor, and your guide to selling with alignment, authority, and ease. Each week, we'll talk strategy, mindset, and energetics so you can attract dream clients, close high ticket offers with confidence, and build the profitable, joyful business you deserve. Let's dive into today's episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Joyful Money Podcast. This is a podcast for female experts who are done with funnels, cold emailing, cold DMing, and hiding in plain sight. I am your host, Joy Rowland, your business growth strategist. And today I am revealing the best marketing tool in the whole wide world. But before I dive in, I wanted to give you a little bit of an update. So I am just buzzing with excitement, with joy, because I've just had the amazing inflow of abundance into my business. And how did this happen? So, if you've been following me on social media, about 2 weeks ago, you saw my announcement that I was going to a business expo, a live business expo to exhibit my business. So I go to this expo, I set up my table. So we had to pay to set up the table. And so obviously, I'm going to this expo. I had expectations, right? So I'm like, I'm going to meet new people. I'm going to get new leads into my business, right? I'm buzzing. I'm good because I'm always very excited to meet new people. So I go set up my booth, and then this stranger walks up to my booth, and he goes, "Oh, tell me more about your business." So I have an AI voice agent I sell. Her name is Naomi. So I tell this stranger about my voice agent, and he goes, "Oh, I'm interested." So I give him my pamphlet. So this is the pamphlet. If you are listening on the podcast, I'm showing the pamphlet on YouTube so you can go and see. So so I have this big roll-up banner. So you can go on my social media and see if you want to see. So I have this big roll-up banner behind me, and then I printed some literature talking about the AI. And so I give him this, and I go on my scan this QR code. I told him, scan this QR code. You're gonna be able to book an appointment. So I do a personalized demo. So he goes away, scan the QR code. The QR code takes you to my website. So he goes on my website. On my website, I have demos, right? So 20 minutes later, this man comes back and he goes, "Oh, I've watched the demos on your website. I'm ready to proceed." So I go, "Okay, you have an import export business." So based off of our earlier conversation, I said it's going to be 10K to build the voice agent and then $1,000 per month. So he goes, "Yeah, I'm ready to proceed. How can I pay?" And so I started to freak out because I wasn't ready with my payment link. I didn't think I was gonna make sale, which is the lesson of the story, right? Because as human beings, we tend to limit God. Our expectations are so limited based off of our human experience, our human senses, because I have learned that we can only see about 2% of what exists around us. The other 98% is in the spiritual realm, what I call a higher frequency. And many times as human beings, we'll limit God based off of what we think. So I was limiting God and thinking, oh, someone is going to book a discovery call. I'm going to do a demo before they're ready to go, right? I didn't think I was going to make a sale that day. So I didn't even have my payment link. So I tell this amazing human being, I go, "Okay, can I email you later after the expo is done with the payment link?" And he goes, "No, I'm ready to sign up now. Go find me the link." And I'm like, So I had to log into the back end, my Go High Level program. I had to scramble to find the login because obviously I'm there with my iPad. I don't have all my computers. So I go on my Google Drive, grab my login link. Anyways, finally I found the link and he paid on the spot in full. This is the moral of the story, my friend. I want you to increase your expectation of what's possible. All right. When we are ready to manifest, because that's why I teach here. I am teaching that you can manifest abundance, but I am now up leveling my thinking. I am no longer going to limit God based off of my human logic, right? So, for example, you might be thinking, oh, to land clients, I have to do a sales call. I have to all of these steps, right? As female experts, all of these steps we think people need to go through to become clients. In fact, I think I shared here on this podcast, and if you are on my email list, I actually sent a screenshot to all of the people on my email list. I woke up in the morning, it was just before 4 a.m. So I typically go to bed because of my daughter. By 7, we're in bed already. And when I go to bed, I like put my phone on airplane mode or I completely turn it off, right? And I'm an early riser. So I wake up early. I always wake up early. So I wake up early, put on my phone, and I got this alert. Someone had paid 5K in full to join my program, and I didn't recognize the name. So then I log into my CRM to check if the person is on my mailing list. The name wasn't on my mailing list. So at this point, I'm thinking, oh, someone made a mistake, right? Because logically, we think, oh, someone needs to be on our mailing list, someone needs to sign up for a freebie, someone needs to attend our master classes, all of those things. So I emailed the person because Stripe tells you where Stripe gives you the email of the person. So I emailed the person and I said, hi, I see you've paid 5K to join the Joyful Money program. Where did you find me? Right? And she goes, oh, I landed on one of your YouTube videos. And then in her words, she said she binge watched my content. And she got to a section where it was a masterclass replays. So this is what I teach my clients, right? When you do masterclasses, you post the replay on your YouTube. So in this particular masterclass, I got to the point where I was offering for people to join my program, and there was a QR code on the screen to join. So she says she scans the QR code, takes her to my payment link, and that's how she joined. Right. So I want us to start expanding our horizon, especially when we lock arms with the universe. Your abundance can come from anywhere. Do not limit God. Okay. So that's the lesson. I know that was quite a long one before I dive into today's content, but I felt like someone needed to hear this today. Okay. What is the best marketing tool in the world? I know you may be thinking it's a complex funnel, or maybe it's a complex process, or an exhilarating freebie or lead magnet, or even your social media. No, none of those. Your best marketing tool in the whole wild world is your mouth. The only time you are closer to making a sale is when your mouth is moving in front of your target audience. I'm going to let that sink in a little bit. Now, when I started my business, I'm like, oh, I need to have the perfect website. I need to have my Instagram grid. Can you remember the Instagram grid thing where they're like, you do a post, a video, all of those things and make it look beautiful? I was so engrossed in all of those things. I was even trying to figure out what's the best logo. But none of those things landed clients for me until I started moving my mouth, until I started talking to people. Now, the first time ever I did an Instagram live, I had 2 booked calls immediately from that Instagram live, and one of them signed up as my client. That's the power of your mouth. When your mouth is moving, most likely you are giving people value, right? And that's why I teach in my program. You give people value, then you make an offer for them to come work with you inside of your program. And it's that giving value that builds trust. Okay, so for many people I come across, they are terrified about talking about their offer. Many of them hide behind Instagram posts, like those static posts, or those ones where like you're doing a funny, well, maybe you're just drinking water. So you see all those posts, drinking coffee, and there's a real like text on screen, or maybe you're walking up the stairs and then you do a B-roll, they call it B-roll. You do a B-roll and you put text on screen. All of those posts are great, don't get me wrong, but if you want to sign clients, you need to open your mouth. People need to see you opening your mouth and giving value. That is the fastest way to land clients. Now, because of the work I do, I get to talk to so many business owners, female business owners, and they come to me and they're like, I am struggling to sign clients. And I said, okay, tell me what you've been doing. And they're like, oh, for the past 6 months, I have been active on social media. I'm like, okay, what do you mean by being active? Well, they go, oh, I post weekly and then I comment on other people's posts. I'm like, do you think that's what will get you clients? No wonder you don't have clients. Your voice builds trust. When your mouth is moving in front of your target audience, sales happen. Not maybe, not someday. Sales will always happen. Why? Your voice builds trust. It conveys confidence and it lets people feel your energy real time. This is especially critical for female experts who are in service-based industry like coaching, consulting, done for you services, where you are the brand of your business, right? And that's why I teach building a personal brand. Some people are like, oh my gosh, I'm an introvert, I don't want to be visible on social media. Hello, I am an introvert too. Those of you who know me very closely, like my clients and my friends, they know that being overly interactive in a social setting usually drains me. And so most of the time, after interacting with people, I have to recharge. I have to turn off my phone. I have to just be by myself. And that is fine. So you can do very smart energy management to honor your introvertness. Like, I am not telling you to change who you are completely, but I am saying if you want to make an impact in the world, and in my view, the money you make is a strong reflection of the impact you make in the world. This is why, especially in my Joyful Money program, we do monthly goal target, like income target, right? I set you a target per month and I give you steps, what you need to do, and we focus on that goal because the revenue you bring into your business is a strong indication of the impact you make. So, for example, Oprah, I believe she's so wealthy because of the impact she has made. Look at any wealthy person you admire. The reason they have so much wealth is because of the impact they have made in the world. So I want you to start thinking about this and to start viewing your business as a business that it is and start showing up as a CEO of your business. So I usually say this, that as a business owner, your number one priority is bringing in sales, right? You are the CEO of your business as well as the sales manager. Why? Without sales, almost very certainly, your business is going to close. I cannot tell you the number of people that have closed down their businesses, coaches, consultants, service-based entrepreneurs. The reason they had to close down their businesses was because it became an expensive hobby. Well, it takes a lot of effort to run a business. And if you are not making sales consistently, surely, at some point, you're going to give up. Okay. So, as the CEO of your business, you are the sales director as well as the marketing director, all of the things. But the number one job is a sales director. You need to start bringing in sales, consistent sales, because it's that sale, the consistent sales, that makes you realize that you have something that can fund your desire, the desirable future you want, right? So you need to consistently bring in sales into your store, your business. Okay. Now, your voice. Like your voice, that's your power. Your voice, your story, your conviction, your clarity. All of these things create conversion. That's how people convert. In fact, I read a research recently and it said that for high ticket, it takes people 11 hours of content for them to be comfortable to pay high ticket. So think about it. How many Instagram reels do you think it will take to get to 11 hours of content? That's going to be a lot. This is why you need to start getting comfortable with talking about your offer, giving value. In fact, when I shared in one of the mastermind groups, I had just signed someone who the story I just told you, someone who signed from watching my content on YouTube. So I shared it in the mastermind, and somebody commented and said, "Oh, I am not surprised." And she said, "Short form content connects, but long form content converts." So your post on Instagram connects you to people, but it's the long form content that actually converts them into becoming high ticket clients. I'm like, I never thought of it that way. And that is so true. Okay. So, all of this to say, this is why being in front of people, talking to people, giving value works. Okay. So, the last 2 months, I've done 25K back to back. So 50K in 60 days. Okay. And many people are like, oh my gosh, you are so lucky. It has nothing to do with luck. Why? I'm going to give you my stats from January to date, right? So in about 5 months and 1 week, I have done nine, nine live masterclasses. I have done 24 video podcast episodes. 24 video podcast episodes available for people to watch on YouTube. I have done 3 speaking engagements at conferences. 3. I have done 182 posts slash reels on each of the social media. So Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Because how I do mine is when I create a post, I post the same thing across the 3 social media. 182 since January of 2025. And today's date is the 9th of June 2025. So when people say I'm lucky, it has nothing to do with luck. I am blessed. Yes, I know I am blessed by God, but I have put in the reps. So I actually posted this on my Instagram 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, these are my stats. What are your stats? If you say you're not signing clients, tell me what you've been doing in your business. And this is why my clients get results, because we track your effort, right? When I look at your business and I'm like, okay, you've only done one live masterclass for the whole year. How are you expecting to be signing clients consistently? So it has nothing to do with luck. I am inserting myself in situations where my mouth is moving in front of my target audience. That is why I am constantly signing clients. And this is why I teach the strategies I teach inside of my Joyful Money program, because speaking leads to signups, right? Okay, so there is a visibility block for women, especially. So many women stay silent. And this is why I think the statistic about women's success is so staggering, and staggering in a negative way. So, Wells Fargo in the US says that only 1.9% of women businesses will ever hit the $1 million mark per year. I'm going to say that again. Only 1.9% of women businesses will ever get to $1 million per year. Why? Because many women are, we are women, right? Especially how we've been socialized growing up. So most women may have heard their parents or caregivers say, oh, you don't have to be too much, right? All of those programming has meant, oh, we're not confident telling people about our value. If you compared a guy in the office to a woman in the office, the way they present themselves in the world is completely different. A guy has no problem telling you how amazing he is, right? But a woman is like, she'll be like, oh, I have to be modest, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? But if you want to make incredible success in your business, and I believe you listening to this podcast, that's your goal. If you want to create an incredibly successful business, you have to be comfortable sharing your value in a confident way. That's what attracts people. Okay. Many women, especially new coaches and service providers, they avoid talking about their offers. Why? Because of perfectionism, because of imposter syndrome, because of the deep fear of being judged or being misunderstood. Let's get real. Women are taught to be humble, to be polite, to not be too much. So even though you know you can offer value to people, you know your offer can help people, your brain keeps screaming, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want I don't want to feel icky. I want it to feel aligned. Yes, sales can feel aligned when you have a structured way of getting people into your world and have a way of conveying the value you bring. And all of that fear you feel keeps your mouth closed. It's not about knowing what to say, it's about the fear of being seen, right? It's the fear of being seen talking about your offer. Oh gosh, the drama that women go through to just do an Instagram live. People don't want perfect. Okay, so I'm going to tell you exactly how to get in a room and use your mouth to make money. So, how do we fix this? How do you get in a room where your mouth does the magic? I'm going to tell you exactly how I do it. The first one is speaking at virtual conferences. Excuse me. Speaking at virtual conferences where you are one of the speakers. So far I've done three. One of them I did is called the Beyond Patient Care Conference. This was hosted by a lady called Tavona. You can go on my social media and you see the details. It was specifically for people in healthcare, so doctors, nurses, PTs, healthcare providers who are thinking about setting up their own businesses. That was what the conference was about. Now, can you imagine? From that just one conference, I spoke for about 45 minutes. I have landed 7 clients, 7 painful clients, all of them doctors, by the way, which is amazing because doctors are smart. I feel like when I coach them, they take action, and that's why they're getting results. Okay. So from that one conference, and the conference was 2 months ago now. Yeah, exactly 2 months ago. It was in April. This is April, May, June. Yeah, 2 months ago. I've had 7 clients. That's the power of speaking on other people's stages. How about guesting on other people's podcasts? So these two strategies I just talked about, speaking at conferences, guesting on other people's podcasts. These are the strategies I teach in my Joyful Money program. How do you find aligned podcasts? How do you pitch yourself to those podcasts? And how do you land those spots? Because the fastest way to build your credibility is leveraging the credibility of somebody else. So when you start your business, your credibility is almost zero, right? Because you're coming into the industry for the first time. People don't know who you are. They are not sure of the value you bring. But if you leverage an existing audience, guesting on other people's podcasts is leveraging that person's credibility, right? So if you go on this podcast and you give value, and I teach in my Joyful Money program how to um, give value and also the call to action. Always the call to action is an incredible lead magnet. And I'm not talking about just a simple PDF, right? Your lead magnet has to be so compelling that people want to join your email list. And then in the back end, you have a nurture sequence to close that. Okay, so those are two virtual conferences, speaking on other people's podcasts. Another one is running monthly masterclasses. I told you so far, I have done 9 monthly masterclasses. I teach my clients to do monthly masterclasses, but I do 2 masterclasses per month. Why? Because I love doing that. When my mouth is moving, people are closer to signing up in my program. So that's the third one. The fourth one is going live. So going live on Instagram, going live on Facebook, giving value, and then having a call to action, inviting people to come work with you. The fifth one, I'm going to give you five, so I don't want to overwhelm you. The fifth one is hosting a regular in-person event. Now, this one is transformational, and I am because of the conference I just attended, the Business Expo. I just connected with someone. Her name is Sharon, and she owns an event space called Palais Noir. Noir, Noir. I think it's French. It's a French name, and she has this amazing, beautiful, luxurious space. And so I am now in talks with her because I want to start hosting a monthly event for women in business in my area. So think about this. What kind of events can you start holding? Like you can start in your house, right? If you feel safe doing that. But I have never done one in my house. I always prefer to host, like rent a space, an amazing space, bring people there. So think about this for your niche. So let's say you're a weight loss coach. Can you start hosting a monthly class for women in your area? Trust me, if you do this and you're consistent, you're going to have a long list of people lining up to work with you. Of all of these five strategies I just talked about to start getting in front of people, for all of them, you do not have to be perfect. You just have to be present and start small. Okay? Remember, the more you talk, the more money you earn. The clients you're dreaming of, they're just one conversation away, but they need to hear from you. And so I know you're like, oh my gosh, how do I start all of this? How do I become more visible? How do I start landing clients? I can help you inside of my Joyful Money program. This is what I help my clients do. Now, in my program, you wouldn't have a bunch of videos to watch. In my program, we take action. This is where strategy meets action. No more just talking about what to do. No more just reading books, listening to podcasts. The only time you start getting results, signing clients consistently, is when you take action. That is the only time when you take consistent action, when you show up. All of these things I've told you. Now, when I started, I wasn't confident, right? If you've listened to my podcast for any length of time, you know my story. I only started to learn to speak English at the age of 25. I never grew up speaking English, but I'm like, I wanted to go to the UK to study, and I'm like, I'm going to learn to speak English. So, because English is not my first language, I had that limiting belief, right? So, it doesn't matter where you're starting from. If you truly believe you are on earth with a mission to help people, if that's your passion, then you can start to overcome all of those limiting beliefs that tells you that being visible is not safe, that tells you you don't have something of value for people to pay you for. That's a lie. You have something so valuable. And here's the kicker. There's things that only you can achieve in this world. There are people that only you can help, right? So, for example, one of my clients is a menopause coach, right? I cannot help her clients. She can help her clients, but I am here to teach her the skills to help those clients, to land those clients, right? So there are people that only you can help. When you start to step into your power, when you start to show up with boldness and confidence, that's what attracts people. In fact, at this business expo I just attended, where I was showcasing my AI, like I said, that's my passion. I love building AI voice agents. So one of the business exhibitors, right? So we all had tables. One of the ladies came to my table, and all she came to tell me was that, oh my gosh, you have such an amazing personality. Her words were, you are so pretty and you are so magnetic. I just had to come tell you. And you needed to have seen the number of people that came to my booth to make inquiries. I had a big smile on my face, like just having fun. Like I wasn't even worried about signing clients. Just that like money is energy, right? I always teach you money is energy. Your energy will determine whether money flows to you or not. So this is why I teach my clients inside of my Joyful Money program how to become magnetic to money, how to step into your power, how to become more confident so that you show up with boldness, right? Nobody wants to pay thousands of dollars to people who are not sure of themselves. I see a lot of coaches on Instagram, and when I watch their videos, it's almost like they are asking themselves questions. It's almost like you can read their what they're thinking in their heart, and it's like they're doubting themselves. They're not sure. That's completely different from when you show up in boldness and you tell people, I can help you. If you want to get this result, you need to work with me. End of. And it takes practice to get there, right? Because, like I said, as women, we were socialized to be humble, in air quotes. In fact, I remember very clearly people telling me, you're not going to find someone to marry if you are too successful. How many people have heard that? Yeah. And these were coming from our moms, our caregivers. They were telling us, if you want to get married, don't be too successful because men don't like women who are more successful than them. I'm like, just thinking about it, I'm like, wow. Those were the words I heard while growing up. And I'm sure so many other women as well. So if you want to achieve financial success, if you want to achieve what I call financial sovereignty, so that you are not in a terrible situation when it comes to your relationships. I know women who are struggling in their relationships. They are tired of their relationships. They are tired of their marriages. They're ready to quit, but they cannot because they don't have financial sovereignty. But if you build a business that's hugely successful, it gives you options to say, oh my gosh, I do not want to stay in this relationship anymore. And that works on the other side as well. Having financial sovereignty can also help you have a thriving marriage with your husband. Imagine having so much money that you know what to do with. The kind of life you can give to your family, your husband, your partner, your kids, right? So it goes both ways. Financial sovereignty can free you from a toxic marriage, and financial sovereignty can also make your marriage, if you want to stay in that marriage, if you want to stay in that relationship, it helps you make that relationship work even better. I had this lady come on a consult and she had almost 90,000 followers. She had never signed one client. And I could see from her, like she told me, right? Because I asked her all of these questions and she's like, she's always been a full-time mom. All of her kids are now grown. And she says, she's never worked in her life. This woman, she's in the US. She's never worked in her life, and her husband has always been the caregiver. Sorry, her husband has always been the provider. So then she lives in this amazing house, like massive house, like it must have been like 10 bedrooms. I could see from her background. And she told me she's not struggling for money. But then she said her husband handles all the finances. She doesn't have control over money. And I'm like, okay. And she said, her husband works so hard. And I remember the question I asked her. I said, how about if you build a successful business and you are able to retire your husband? So her husband, she said her husband works a very hard job and he's done this for decades. And when I asked the question, it just brought her to tears. I said, this man has done amazing things for you and your kids based off of what you just told me. How about if you decide to build a successful business? Because she wakes up, she does nothing, right? Even though she posts on Instagram, right? And that's how she was able to get all of these followers on her page. So I go, what if you could retire your husband? And she just broke down in tears. I'm like, yeah, that's what having a successful business can do for us. Imagine retiring this amazing man that has given her this amazing life. And then they can spend time together because she told me the man is never home because he has to work. Right? So I say that to tell you it can go both ways, whether you are in a thriving relationship or you are in a toxic relationship with an abusive man. When you create financial freedom, when you create financial sovereignty for yourself, It gives you amazing options. So if you are ready to stop faffing around, if you are ready to start building a successful business, you need to be in my Joyful Money program. Just go in my link in bio on all of my social media. Just click the link in bio and book a call. I can help you. And I'm so excited to help you because let's make 2025 our best year yet. In fact, so far this year, I've made more than double what I made last year. And it's just crazy me saying it now. And that's what I want for you too. In fact, I feel like I have the most amazing life. And I'm so thankful to God. I wake up in the morning. I don't have to go to an office location. I'm doing job I absolutely love, helping my clients. I do this full time. I'm so blessed. I work, my hours are dictated by me. In fact, the other day, I was able to take a whole day off to spend time with my daughter. Okay, I'm going to tell you this quick story. So I take her to a theater. This was her first movie experience. So she's been telling me, Mom, I want to go to the movies. I'm not a movies person. I feel like I can watch all of the movies I want to watch on my laptop, right? So um, she's been like, I want to go watch Lilo and Stitch. I said, okay. So I did something called shout out. So this is where you submit a 30-second video for it to be shown. So I took the day off work. I go pick her up from school at 3 o'clock. I picked her up early. The showing was for 4 p.m. And we entered this theater, the most amazing movie theater. So big, so beautiful. And I got both of us the premier seats. So it was like an exclusive seat. And guess what? We were the only one in the whole theater. I'm like, wow. So then it was time, and then the 30-second video I had submitted showed up on screen. And my daughter goes, like, you needed to, like, I recorded her reaction. So I have that on my mobile phone. She was just blown away that her video. So I was featuring her pictures and videos from childhood, and I'm like, Mommy loves you so much, XYZ. That was such an amazing experience, and I'm so grateful I was able to give her that experience. And I think because of the time of day we chose to go, people were still at school, right? And I think that's why we had the whole theater to ourselves. It's just amazing, right? And that's what I want for you. I want you to have time freedom, because here's the thing: the only resource that cannot be increased is time. Once you lose time, it's gone. You can make more money, yes, but we cannot create more time. So I want you to have time freedom. If you are ready to say, oh my gosh, I have been faffing around, I've been playing around in my business, I am ready to create a successful business, then go to my link in bio, grab a spot in my calendar. I cannot wait to help you. Now, tell me what's landing for you for this episode. Now, I know I've covered a lot in this episode. So go on my Instagram, send me a DM. I want to know what's coming up for you. What's holding you back from showing up, from signing clients consistently? For the past 3 months, I've been signing clients every single week. This is crazy, right? All right. So I'll see you back here on the next episode. Until then, go take action. All right. Go show your face in the world, make offers, and sign those clients. I'll see you back here on the next episode. Bye for now. Hey, very quickly before you go, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending time with me today. I hope today's episode gave you something powerful to add to your business toolbox, something you can come back to anytime you need a little extra motivation in your business. If you loved today's episode, the best way you can support me and the show is to leave me a review, and also to share this with an incredible businesswoman like yourself. And if you're ready to create consistent 10K months with ease and alignment, I invite you to apply to join my 6 months mastermind. Visit johnnyroland.com to book your free complimentary discovery call. I cannot wait to help you step into your next level. Until next time, stay aligned, stay confident, and keep creating joyful money. Bye for now.